He told me I wasn't wife material, then proposed to my sister at our family BBQ in front of everyone. You're not wife material. He looked at me and gave a faint smile, like he had just made an innocent joke. But only a few seconds later, Ryan got down on one knee, pulled out a ring box, and turned toward Chloe, my own sister. Everything went silent. The lively atmosphere of the BBQ froze in an instant. Half-filled wine glasses, half-spoken laughter, and friendly chatter all shattered under the stunned gazes of everyone present. Phones came out. Cameras started recording this so-called sweet moment. And in the middle of it all, I stood there. Frozen, speechless, still. I looked at my sister, or no, now the future bride in their little performance. She covered her mouth like she was shocked, like she hadn't known anything beforehand, like this was a whirlwind of emotion she couldn't have seen coming. I knew that look well. Chloe had always been good at acting, and the most loyal audience of her life was my family. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. Because what I knew, what I had prepared, that was the real ending. Just a day earlier, I was lying next to Ryan, the man I had loved for 4 years. The man who had once proposed to me. The man who had once promised a small house with a white fence and 3 kids running around the yard. The man who once held me and whispered, "I'm lucky to have you." Now he was bowing before my sister, holding a ring in his hand at a party celebrating my father's retirement. What I felt wasn't pain. It was numbness. Every sense in me froze. Every reaction slipped away. I could only hear the slow, steady thump of my heart, as if my body was doing everything it could to stay calm for a soul that was about to break. My parents stood not far away. My mom raised a hand to her mouth, her eyes full of panic. My dad gripped his wine glass tightly, clearly trying not to throw it straight at Ryan's face. But I turned and gave him a small shake of the head. I needed everything to go according to plan. I needed Ryan to believe I was powerless. I needed them all to think they had won. Chloe gasped and squealed. I say yes." And Ryan slipped the ring onto her finger as if I had never existed. That was the moment they believed they had won. But a few hours later, back in my old bedroom at my parents' house, I stared at my phone screen. The family group chat started buzzing. "Haley, are you okay? Is this really happening? Greg, how could this happen?" I just smiled. Gently. Because at exactly 6 o'clock the next morning, everyone would be watching a 7-minute video. A video I had been quietly editing for 3 weeks. A story with images, audio, timestamps, proof that Ryan and Chloe hadn't just betrayed me, they had crushed the trust of this entire family. If anyone asked me why I didn't cry, this was the reason. I already had. On the very first night, I saw the message that said, "I miss you," from a random number saved as Alex. I cried for 4 hours straight, sitting in a dark room, watching Ryan sleep beside me while my heart felt like it was being squeezed. I cried because I felt stupid, because I trusted, because I had given too much. But after that night, I woke up. And I understood that not everyone deserves to know they're being watched. I disappeared from my own pain. In its place, I became someone else. A version of myself they never thought could exist. Quiet, cold, and ready. If you asked me when everything started to go wrong, I wouldn't be able to pinpoint the exact moment. Maybe it was when Ryan started coming home later than usual, or when he stopped calling me during his lunch breaks like he used to. But I didn't pay attention. Or more truthfully, I didn't want to. Because when someone loves another person too deeply, they easily create reasons to justify all the odd behavior. Maybe work was hectic. Maybe he was just stressed about buying the house. Chloe is still my sister. Why would I doubt her? I chose to believe in what was easier to accept, instead of facing what I didn't dare to admit. Chloe had always been the perfect child in my parents' eyes. She was beautiful, always scored high, danced gracefully, and of course, she was good at winning people over. I was used to living in her shadow throughout my childhood, but I never thought that shadow would one day extend over my personal life. Ryan was the only one who made me feel like I was enough. Smart enough, worthy enough, important enough. He was the first person who looked at me without seeing me through the glow of my sister. At least, that's what I believed. I still remember the first time he proposed. A small restaurant, warm yellow lights, soft jazz playing in the corner. He got down on one knee and said, "I know I'm not perfect, but I want to build a life with you." I cried out of happiness. I believed in the dream we painted together. A house by the lake, cooking dinner together in the evenings, a little dog running around. I didn't know that dream was already becoming real, with someone else. That fateful night, I woke up at 2 in the morning when Ryan's phone vibrated. I wasn't planning to check it, but the light from the screen pulled my hand toward it without thinking. There was a message from Alex. "I missed the way you touched my hair this afternoon. Did you get home safe?" I had never met Alex, but that writing style, it was Chloe. I knew immediately. My heart felt like it was being squeezed. I didn't say anything. I gently placed the phone back where it was and turned to look at Ryan sleeping soundly, peaceful, comfortable. From that moment on, I was no longer the same. The next morning, I made coffee for both of us. We had breakfast like usual. No strange look, no questions. Ryan still smiled, kissed me before work, still called me wifey in his messages. As soon as he left the house, I opened my laptop. Tab after tab appeared. How to extract iCloud messages. Undetectable tracking software. Hidden cameras in household items. Browser password managers I learned in one morning, things I never thought I would need. And then, like some cruel joke from the universe, I discovered Ryan still used my birthday as the password for his laptop. It was almost funny. The man cheating on me with my own sister was hiding his secrets behind the very day I was born. I found everything. Emails with Chloe that included pictures of her apartment's living room, the same one Ryan once said didn't look familiar. Ryan's Google Maps history, showing trips to Chloe's place every week, always during company meetings. Selfies in the recently deleted folder. Ryan with his arm around Chloe, sitting on the couch I used to curl up on. Every piece of evidence felt like a blade. But I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't break anything. I created a new folder and named it The Truth. I took screenshots, saved videos, downloaded messages, backed up the entire drive. Each day I became someone else. A woman who no longer trusted feelings, only logic, data, and evidence. A bride-to-be who was secretly preparing to end everything in silence. 3 days later, I followed Ryan from afar. He told me he had a meeting, but I saw him stop outside the same restaurant where he once proposed to me. And then Chloe showed up. They kissed right at the entrance. His hand rested on her lower back, the same spot where he once held me when we danced our first waltz. I stood 2 blocks away, cold, empty. But I didn't turn away. I took photos, I filmed, and I remembered. I remembered everything I needed to make sure they could never deny the truth. That night, I walked into an electronics store. I smiled softly at the salesman when he asked about hidden cameras, just looking to make my place a little safer. You know how things are these days. I bought 3 tiny cameras the size of a fingertip, shaped like phone chargers, a large USB drive, and I brought home a completely different version of myself. When Ryan went to shower, I installed the first camera in the living room. The second went on the bookshelf in our bedroom. The third, I saved it for the corner of his home office. The place I knew he had called Chloe from more than once. I watched him from behind as he stepped out of the bathroom, towel drying his hair, smiling. I smiled too, a smile he had never seen before. From the moment I installed the hidden cameras in the house, I was no longer Ryan's fiancée. I was the woman waiting for the final piece of evidence to end the pathetic play they thought they were getting away with. Every night, I lay beside him, listening to the steady breathing of the man I had once loved more than I loved myself. In my head were clips, whispers, secret touches, and looks that were supposed to belong only to me. But I didn't scream. I didn't accuse. I planned. The first thing I did was open a separate bank account and quietly transfer small amounts of money from my personal income that Ryan didn't have access to. He always said I was bad with money, that he just wanted to help me manage it better. It sounded sweet, but the truth was he had control of every password and credit card we shared. I needed financial independence before I walked away completely. And I didn't leave a single trace that could raise suspicion. The second step was to act like everything was normal. I still smiled. I still cooked dinner. I still let him hold me every morning. I even planned the wedding with him, chatted with my mom about dresses, flower arrangements, the cake so Ryan would believe I was clueless. I didn't do it because I was weak. I did it because I needed time to prepare the most spectacular breakup of my life. 3 weeks before the family BBQ, I bought a fake engagement ring that looked identical to the one Ryan had given me. I ordered it online for a few bucks, made from cheap metal. I swapped the real ring out of the box, replaced it with the fake one, and locked the original in my personal safe. That fake ring would show up with me at the family party as the final prop of their performance, and it would fall exactly where I wanted it to. Then came the most important part, editing the video. I extracted all the footage from the cameras. There were crystal clear scenes of Ryan hugging Chloe on my couch, whispering in her ear when he thought I had gone grocery shopping. Clips of them having dinner in my living room, drinking wine, playing the song Ryan and I once picked for our wedding. In another clip, Chloe was wearing Ryan's shirt. The kind only I used to wash. She smiled like the whole world belonged to her. I spent 6 hours editing, cutting, adjusting color, adding subtitles, marking timestamps. I wanted that video to be undeniable, not fake, not something anyone could talk their way out of. The final scene was a whisper from Ryan during a phone call, recorded on the camera in his office. Just let her believe it. I want the BBQ to be the final stab. I'll say it to her face. You're not wife material. Then I'll propose to you right there in front of everyone. Okay? I didn't cut the video right there. I let it run 3 more seconds. In those final moments, I looked straight into the camera. It felt like I was looking right into the eyes of everyone who would watch that video. I didn't cry. I just said one thing. Then let's see who really got stabbed in the back. I saved the video to a small silver USB drive. I labeled it simply, "Play this, 6 a.m." I created a new email address with no real name, sent the file to our family group chat, and scheduled it to send at 6 a.m. the morning after the BBQ. The email subject line was, "The truth behind the ring." I knew my mom would be the first to open it. She always woke up early, made tea, and checked messages from her kids. I also knew my dad would read it in silence. He didn't talk much, but he hated lies. I didn't know how the whole family would react. But I knew one thing. After that morning, none of them would ever look at Ryan and Chloe the same way again. I packed my clothes slowly, folding each piece into a small cream-colored suitcase. It was the same suitcase I once thought I'd use for my honeymoon. This time, it would take me somewhere else. Not Venice, not Bali, Lisbon. I booked a one-way flight. Departure was early the morning after the BBQ. The reason was freedom. I left a short letter on my desk. It said only one line. I don't need to lose myself to hold on to an empty promise. On the final night before the party, I stood in front of the mirror and slipped the fake ring onto my finger. I didn't feel pain anymore. I felt calm. I walked out of the apartment, knowing that tomorrow would be the last event I'd ever attend as the woman they thought I still was. And after that, I would be someone else. Someone who had seen everything, planned everything, and chose to end it quietly, but with precision. That afternoon, the sky was an unnaturally perfect blue. Golden sunlight poured over the backyard of my parents' house, where the BBQ party was set up beautifully. A long table with white linens, strings of paper lanterns lining the walkway, and the smell of grilled meat floating through the air like it was the happiest day of a picture-perfect family. I walked in wearing a soft beige dress, my hair neatly tied up, the fake ring on my finger gleaming like nothing had changed. Everyone hugged me, complimented how radiant I looked. Ryan walked in behind me, his hand resting lightly on my back like he was still the man of my life. I let him play the role. I let Chloe hold his hand and giggle when people teased how close they looked. I let my mom prepare a champagne toast to celebrate the oldest daughter's upcoming wedding, not knowing that this wedding had never truly belonged to me. As the party reached its peak and everyone had eaten their fill, soft music played in the background. Ryan stood up and tapped his glass. Everything went silent. Every eye turned to him. I knew this moment would come. I had waited for it for 3 weeks. He smiled at me. I smiled back. Gently. Then he turned to Chloe and spoke loudly. There are women who make you happy, and there are women who make you feel alive. And today I want to propose to the one who makes me feel like myself. Whispers spread through the crowd. My mom's eyes widened. My dad froze mid-bite. I stood there, holding my champagne glass, steady as ever. Haley, you're a wonderful person, but you're not the kind of woman a man marries. I heard every word. The same words I had already heard in the video. The same ones he thought only Chloe had heard. I didn't change my expression. I tilted my head slightly like I might have misheard. Then Ryan turned, pulled out a small box, and got down on one knee in front of Chloe. Chloe, will you marry me? People gasped. Murmurs rippled like waves. Someone dropped a fork. My mom shot up from her chair. I didn't move. I didn't cry, didn't scream, and didn't lose it like they probably expected. I simply raised my glass and said, "What a lovely couple. Congratulations to you both." I heard Chloe pretend to be stunned, then cover her mouth and giggle before nodding with sparkling eyes. Ryan slipped the ring on her finger. It was the exact style I had once shown him a year ago. They had taken everything, my boyfriend, my proposal plans, and turned it into their own performance. But I wasn't acting. For the rest of the party, I remained calm, like a guest watching a play. I chatted with relatives, took pictures with my mom, even clinked glasses with Chloe when she walked by. "I'm really happy," she whispered. I smiled. "I know. You deserve someone like Ryan." It sounded like a compliment, but it cut like a knife. Chloe smiled, but something flickered in her eyes. Maybe she had begun to feel that something was off. I twisted the fake ring on my finger slightly. It sparkled in the afternoon sun. If you looked closely, you'd see a tiny scratch on the side of the stone, something you'd never find on a real diamond. The two of them were too busy playing their roles to realize I had never stepped off the stage. When the party ended, I thanked my parents, hugged everyone, and walked away with the same calm face I'd worn all day, like it had been just another afternoon. What they didn't know was that in just a few more hours, an email would be delivered to the entire family. An email titled, "The Truth Behind the Ring." And inside it would be a 7-minute video that would tear apart their idea of a perfect family. By then, I wouldn't be around to watch. I'd be at another airport, in another city, starting another life. But the ending, I had written it long ago. 6 a.m. the next morning. The sun hadn't fully risen. A faint pink light slipped through the edges of the window blinds. I was sitting in the airport lounge, a steaming cup of coffee in my hand and my phone resting silently on my lap. My flight to Lisbon would depart in 2 hours. I turned on my phone screen. Exactly 6 a.m. The email had been sent. Subject: The Truth Behind the Ring. Attachment: Video final 7minute.mp4. I didn't need to follow what would happen next. I had watched that video dozens of times. I knew every frame, every pause, every expression captured in it. What I didn't know was what it would feel like when everyone saw what I had seen, but I imagined it would be worth the wait. At home, my mother was the first to open the email. She always woke up early, made tea, and checked messages from her children. I knew she would see that subject line, and I knew she wouldn't be able to resist opening it. The video began with a black screen and white text. I've stayed silent long enough. The first scene was Ryan and Chloe in the living room of my apartment. She was wearing a gray button-down shirt, the kind I always washed for Ryan. They laughed, poured wine, and held each other. Next came a clip from the office camera. Ryan was on the phone, his voice low. Let her believe it. The BBQ will be the final stab. Then it cut to Chloe in my kitchen, opening my fridge, pulling out the bottle of wine I had saved for a special occasion. She turned and kissed Ryan like everything in that space already belonged to her. The middle of the video was a montage of short conversations. Do you think she suspects anything? Number, she's naive. Don't worry. Are you really going to say it in front of her whole family? I want her to break down right there. That's how you make it satisfying. And then, the final and most powerful moment. Me, staring into the camera, my eyes cold as ice. Thank you for showing me the truth. Now it's your turn to see it. The first message in the family group chat came at 6:09 a.m. What the hell is this? Haley, is this real? Then came a flood of responses. I can't believe this. Ryan and Chloe. How long has this been going on? Haley, you knew this whole time? Dear God, is this why you said nothing at the party? She's been in their house? That many times? I didn't reply. I didn't need to. My silence was louder than any scream. Ryan called 3 times. I didn't pick up. His first message said, Haley, what the hell are you doing? Then, are you insane? Then, can we please talk? And finally, please, I need to talk to you. Please. I deleted them all. No trace, no response, not a single word. Chloe messaged me at 6:35 a.m. Why did you do this? Do you want to ruin my life? I didn't need to respond, because she had done that to me first. I simply helped her face the consequences. At 7 a.m., my dad sent a single message. I'm proud of you. I cried, not from pain, but because for the first time I felt seen. No one would ever call me weak again, or say I was too soft, or not wife material. I didn't need to prove I was worthy. I had already proved it, in my own way. Messages from friends began flooding in. Many relatives unfriended Chloe and Ryan on social media. Their engagement post disappeared within hours. Ryan's profile went private. Chloe vanished completely. I didn't watch anymore. I turned off my phone, tucked it into my coat pocket, and took a deep breath as the flight announcement echoed through the lounge. I didn't know what the future held. But I knew one thing. I had climbed out of the wreckage they threw me into. No tears, no blame. Just one plan and belief in myself. I stepped onto the plane, head held high. As the engine roared and pulled me away from the city that had witnessed my betrayal, I didn't feel loss. I felt free. 1 year after that disastrous party, I was sitting in a small cafe on the edge of Lisbon, watching rows of red-tiled rooftops and sun-drenched seaside houses stretch across the horizon. I no longer woke up with a tightness in my chest. I wasn't afraid of text notifications or haunted by broken dreams of a wedding that never happened. I no longer had to pretend to be okay, just to keep peace in a relationship that had been rotting from the inside. I was no longer the rejected bride. Now I was simply myself. Lisbon wasn't a place I had ever imagined starting over. But strangely enough, when you let go of all expectations, all plans, all familiar paths, it's the unexpected things that end up saving you. I lived in a small apartment on the 3rd floor with white walls and a balcony that overlooked a cobblestone street. In the mornings, I'd go to the market to buy fresh bread, lavender, and summer fruits. In the evenings, I wrote. I wrote a lot. I submitted a piece to a European women's magazine about a woman who had been betrayed but chose not to stay angry. She chose to leave instead. The article was published in the April issue. Beneath the title was a byline. By H.W., the initials of the name I chose for myself. Not to hide, but to begin again. I cut off all contact with Ryan and Chloe. I didn't care where they ended up. All I knew were the whispers that trickled through mutual friends, that they were no longer together. I used to think I would feel satisfied watching Ryan and Chloe get what they deserved. But the truth was, reality delivered something harsher than any revenge I could have planned. After the video circulated, Ryan was suspended from his company immediately. No one wanted to work with a man known for cheating on his fiancée and sleeping with her younger sister. His business partners backed out. His carefully curated image of a family man crumbled within a week. He lost his job. He lost his house. And he was left drowning in the mortgage debt on an apartment I had already removed my name from days before. Chloe was socially exiled. The hateful messages flooded her inbox and comment sections. The video of Ryan mocking me and then proposing to her became a meme that spread among our old classmates. No one stood by them. She vanished from social media. Rumor had it she moved to another state. But in this digital age, once your name is tainted, the stain follows you everywhere. They didn't stay together. Some said Chloe left Ryan when he started spiraling and losing control. Others claimed Ryan tried to sue her for damaging his image and reputation, as if he hadn't started all of it himself. In the end, the two people who once stood in front of me smiling with pride became nothing more than cautionary tales. Never betray a smart woman. She won't lash out right away. She'll wait until you have nothing left to lose. My family never brought them up in phone calls. My mother just said one thing. You did what no one else had the courage to do. You kept your dignity, and you kept your heart. I once thought I was weak because I didn't scream or fight to win back the man who betrayed me. But I realized silence isn't surrender. Silence is power. I was never not wife material. I just wasn't meant to marry a man who lacked the decency to value me. Some days I still remember that BBQ. That moment he knelt before my sister, and the whole world tilted on its axis. But I don't feel pain anymore. I just feel compassion for the woman I was that day. The one who stood still, smiled, and said congratulations. Because now I know that smile was the most powerful blow I ever delivered. A smile born of clarity, of freedom, of a woman who knows her worth. I don't know what lies ahead. But I know I'll never enter a relationship just to fill a void. I don't need anyone to define who I am. I was once betrayed. I was once humiliated in front of my entire family. I once loved the wrong person. I once trusted the wrong person. I once hurt so badly I could barely breathe. But I also stood up. I also planned. I exposed the truth. And I walked away without regret. I'm not perfect, but I'm strong. And for the first time in my life, I believe that's enough. There's always another side to the story. The side of the woman who stayed silent, who endured, and who finally rose with pride. If you're listening to me now, maybe you're rewriting your own next chapter too. Don't wait for someone to rescue you. Rescue yourself. Because sometimes the best revenge is living a life they no longer get to be a part of. I don't know who you are, what you're going through, or how long you've been silent. But if you've ever been dismissed, betrayed, or robbed of your voice, then this story is for you. Because her side of the story isn't just about retelling tragedy. It's about every woman who rises, walks away from the role of victim, and becomes the main character of her own life. Here, we don't tell stories to cry. We tell them to be seen, to be understood, and to be reborn. And if you're quietly writing your next chapter too, just remember, you're not alone.